Listen to me carefully, because if you hear nothing else I say today, if you click off in 2 minutes, if you forget every other word, this one truth could still change the entire direction of your life. Right now, you're breathing, but you're not alive. You wake up, drag yourself out of bed, scroll your phone, work a job you hate, come home exhausted and repeat, and deep down, you know something is missing. There's this silent scream inside you, this aching, gnawing voice that whispers, "This isn't what I was born for." You've been looking for meaning in distractions, in relationships that don't last, in cheap entertainment, in substances that numb you, in the shallow approval of people who don't even think about you at night. Unbreakable self-respect is the foundation of everything you will ever achieve in life. It's not about ego, arrogance, or pretending to be something you're not. It's about holding yourself to a standard so high that you refuse to accept mediocrity from yourself in any area of your life. It's the silent agreement you make with yourself that no matter what happens, you will not betray your own potential. Most people live their entire lives with low self-respect without even realizing it. They break promises to themselves every single day. They say they will start going to the gym on Monday, but Monday comes and goes. They say they will work on their dream project when they have time, but years pass and nothing happens. They know deep down they're capable of more, yet they settle for less because it's easier, safer, and more comfortable. Every time you do that, you chip away at your self-respect, and with each chip, your ability to find your true purpose becomes weaker and weaker. Self-respect starts with discipline, but it goes deeper than that. It's about how you treat yourself when nobody is watching. It's about what you do when there's no applause, no recognition, no instant reward. When you have unbreakable self-respect, you don't need external motivation. You are driven by an internal standard that doesn't bend for convenience. You don't cut corners because you know those shortcuts will cost you later. You don't tell yourself it's fine when you know it's not. You don't tolerate laziness in your own soul. This isn't about living a perfect life. It's about refusing to lie to yourself about the life you're living. The truth is, self-respect is earned through action. You can't buy it, you can't talk yourself into it, and you can't fake it. You earn it by consistently keeping promises to yourself, no matter how small. When you tell yourself you'll wake up early and you do, that's self-respect. When you tell yourself you'll work out 3 times a week and you do it even when you don't feel like it, that's self-respect. When you decide you'll spend 1 hour a day working on your dreams instead of wasting that time scrolling or watching meaningless content, and you follow through, that's self-respect. Each small act is like a brick, and over time you build a fortress around your mind that no doubt, fear, or outside opinion can break. Without self-respect, you will always be at the mercy of your feelings. You will always quit when it's hard. You will always talk yourself out of doing the uncomfortable things that are necessary to grow. You will always need someone else to push you, validate you, or remind you why you started. And that's the problem. If you rely on others for your drive, you will never find your purpose because purpose comes from a place within you that is independent of outside influence. Only self-respect gives you that independence. When you truly respect yourself, you stop asking for permission to go after what you want. You don't need people to approve of your dreams because you've already approved them yourself. You stop caring about whether other people understand your journey because you understand it. You stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You stop shrinking to fit into spaces where your real self won't fit. You start making decisions that align with your future, not your comfort zone. Self-respect also changes how you handle failure. When you respect yourself, failure doesn't define you. It instructs you. You don't quit just because you lost. You take the lesson, adjust, and go again. You can look in the mirror after a loss and still hold your head high because you know you showed up, gave your best, and stayed true to your standards. People without self-respect crumble when they fail because their identity is tied to winning. People with self-respect grow when they fail because their identity is tied to effort, integrity, and consistency. Another powerful thing about unbreakable self-respect is that it forces you to set boundaries. When you respect yourself, you don't allow toxic people to take up space in your life. You don't waste your time on meaningless arguments or energy draining situations. You don't let people treat you in ways that violate your values. And here's the key. This isn't about arrogance, it's about alignment. You understand that your time and energy are the most valuable resources you have, and you protect them fiercely. You know that every yes to something unimportant is a no to something that truly matters, so you choose wisely. Building unbreakable self-respect is not glamorous. It's not a quick transformation. It's a daily war. You'll fight against your own excuses, your own doubts, your own laziness. You'll have days when you don't feel like doing the work, and you'll have to do it anyway. You'll have moments when your mind will try to convince you to take the easy way out, and you'll have to say no. You'll have temptations to break your own rules for temporary pleasure, and you'll have to resist. Every time you win one of these small battles, your self-respect grows stronger, and the stronger it gets, the more unshakable you become. Once you've built unbreakable self-respect, finding your purpose becomes inevitable. That's because purpose is not revealed to those who live carelessly. It is revealed to those who have proven they are ready to carry the weight of it. Purpose is heavy. It demands sacrifice, focus, and resilience. If you can't even keep the promises you make to yourself, how will you handle the responsibilities that come with living your purpose? Self-respect is like the key that unlocks the door. Without it, you can push and pull on that door your whole life, and it will never open. And here's the most important thing. You can start building self-respect today. You don't need to wait for Monday, for the new year, or for the right time. The right time is now. Pick one promise to yourself, keep it, and then pick another. Stack them until they become who you are. Don't break them for anyone or anything. Make your own words sacred to yourself. Live like the person you would be proud to meet. If you do this, you will not only find your purpose, you will become the kind of person who is unstoppable once they have it. That is the power of unbreakable self-respect. The pain of living without purpose is a quiet kind of suffering that eats at you from the inside out. It's not sharp and sudden like a physical wound. It's slow, constant, and heavy. It's the kind of pain that makes you feel tired even after a full night's sleep, restless even when you're lying in bed, and unsatisfied no matter what you achieve. You wake up, you go through the motions, you smile when you're supposed to, but inside you know you're just existing, not truly living. And deep down, there's this small, stubborn voice that keeps asking, is this all there is? It's a question that can follow you for years, and the longer it goes unanswered, the more it eats away at you. Without purpose, life becomes a cycle of repetition that never leads anywhere. Every day looks the same, and even the good moments feel temporary because there's no deeper meaning tying them together. You start to feel like you're floating through life, disconnected from the things you do, detached from the people around you, and distant from the person you could have been. You might distract yourself with entertainment, with social media, with meaningless conversations, or short-lived pleasures, but when the noise dies down and you're left alone with your thoughts, the emptiness creeps back in. You can silence it for a while, but it's always there waiting for you. The truth is, human beings are not built to live without purpose. We are wired to chase something, to build something, to contribute to something bigger than ourselves. When we don't have that, we start to fall apart, not always physically at first, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. The energy that should be going into growth, progress, and creation turns into frustration, anxiety, and self-doubt. You start questioning why you even bother to try. You start convincing yourself that maybe this is just how life is supposed to be, and that's the most dangerous part. When you start to accept a life you don't want as if it's the only life you can have. Living without purpose also changes how you see yourself. When you're not working towards something meaningful, it's easy to believe you're not capable of much. You begin to shrink your dreams down to fit your current reality instead of expanding your reality to match your dreams. You convince yourself that other people are meant for greatness, but you're not. You stop taking risks because you don't see the point, and little by little, Your confidence fades, your ambition dies, and your life becomes something you never imagined it would be comfortable but empty. One of the cruelest parts about this pain is how invisible it is to other people. From the outside, you might look fine, you might even look successful, you might have a good job, a nice home, and a social circle that thinks you're doing well. But none of that matters if you don't feel alive inside. You can be surrounded by people and still feel completely alone. You can have all the material things you thought you wanted and still feel like something essential is missing. That's because purpose is not about what you own. It's about what you're here to do, and without it, all the achievements in the world feel hollow. This kind of pain also has a way of bleeding into every part of your life. Without purpose, your relationships suffer because you're not fully present in them. You can't give your best to other people when you feel like you're running on empty. Your work suffers because you're not motivated by anything deeper than a paycheck. Your health can suffer because you lack the drive to take care of yourself the way you should. Even your free time feels wasted because you're not using it to build something meaningful. You're just trying to escape the feeling that your life is standing still. And here's the thing, this pain doesn't go away on its own. In fact, the longer you ignore it, the heavier it gets. Years can pass in what feels like months, and one day you look back and realize you've been living the same year over and over again. You start to feel regret, not just for what you didn't do, but for who you didn't become. Regret is one of the heaviest burdens a person can carry because you can't go back and change the past. You can only look at the time you lost and wonder what could have been if you had acted sooner. Some people try to numb this pain instead of facing it. They bury themselves in work, in partying, in relationships, in anything that keeps them from being alone with their thoughts. They chase temporary highs to avoid dealing with the low that never really leaves. But the problem with that approach is that it only makes things worse. The more you avoid the truth, the more disconnected you become from yourself, and the harder it gets to find your way back. Living without purpose is like drifting in the middle of the ocean with no land in sight. You might keep yourself afloat for a while, but without a direction, you're just at the mercy of the waves, and the waves will not take you where you want to go. They will drag you wherever they please. Without a purpose to anchor you, you're vulnerable to every change in circumstance, every opinion, every obstacle. You let life happen to you instead of taking control and making life happen for you. But the most painful part is knowing deep down that it doesn't have to be this way. There's a part of you that remembers when you had dreams, when you had fire, when you believed you could be something more. That part of you is still there, but it's buried under years of neglect. Every day you live without purpose, that part gets harder to hear, but it never completely disappears. And that's why the pain never fully goes away. Because deep down, you know you're meant for more, and you can feel the distance between where you are and where you should be. This pain is a signal. It's not here to destroy you. It's here to wake you up. It's here to remind you that you have more inside you than the life you're currently living. It's here to push you to start searching, to start moving, to start building something that matters. But that only happens if you listen to it. If you keep ignoring it, it will eventually turn into bitterness. You'll start blaming the world, blaming other people, blaming circumstances when the truth is, the only person who can change your life is you. Living without purpose is not just a waste of time, it's a waste of self. You have gifts, talents, experiences, and strengths that nobody else in the world has in exactly the same way, and when you don't use them, the world loses something it can never get back. That's the real tragedy of living without purpose. It's not just about what you miss out on, it's about what you robbed from the people who could have been impacted by you. You only get one life, and you have no idea how long it will be. Every day you spend living without purpose is a day you will never get back. You can't change yesterday, but you can decide today that you will not waste tomorrow. The pain you feel now is the proof that you're not where you're supposed to be. Let it push you, let it drive you, let it become the fire that finally forces you to break the cycle. Because the only thing worse than living without purpose is realizing too late that you never even tried to find it. The war inside is the hardest battle you will ever fight, because it's not against an enemy you can see, touch, or outrun. It's against yourself, your fears, your doubts, your excuses, your laziness, your comfort zone, your old habits that keep pulling you back into the same patterns you've been trying to escape. This war doesn't have clear battle lines or scheduled fights. It happens every single day, from the moment you open your eyes in the morning to the moment you close them at night. And most of the time, the outcome of your entire life is decided by whether you win or lose that invisible fight. People often imagine that their biggest obstacles are external: the economy, the lack of opportunity, unsupportive people, unfair circumstances. And yes, those things can make the path harder, but they're rarely what truly stops you. What stops you is the voice in your head that says, "It's too hard, you're not ready, you're not good enough. What's the point? Maybe tomorrow." That voice has killed more dreams than any obstacle in the world. And the dangerous thing is, it sounds reasonable, it pretends to protect you, it whispers things like, "Just rest a little longer," or "You can always start later," or "You're not in the right place in life yet." It disguises itself as kindness, when in reality, it's sabotage. The war inside is about control, whether you control your mind or your mind controls you. Every time you choose comfort over growth, you hand your power to the wrong side. Every time you avoid doing the hard thing you know you need to do, you strengthen the enemy within. And the problem is, the more you give in, the weaker you become, not just physically, but mentally. You train yourself to give up at the first sign of difficulty, and before long, quitting becomes your default setting. This war is exhausting because it's constant. You don't get a break from yourself. You carry your thoughts, your fears, your insecurities everywhere you go. You can leave a toxic environment. You can cut out negative people. You can even change your surroundings completely. But if you don't win the war inside, you'll just carry the same battles into your new life. That's why so many people find themselves in the same situations over and over again. They changed their circumstances, but not their mindset. Winning this war starts with awareness. You have to learn to recognize the difference between your true self and the enemy in your mind. Your true self is the part of you that wants more, that dreams big, that's willing to work for it. The enemy is the part of you that's scared, lazy, and addicted to comfort. The scary thing is, the enemy will often sound more convincing than your true self because it offers the easier path. It promises quick relief, no risk, no discomfort, but it never tells you the full cost. You lose your progress, your discipline, your self-respect, and eventually your purpose. The war inside is also a battle of identity. You have to decide who you are going to be. Are you the kind of person who backs down when things get hard, or are you the kind of person who pushes through no matter what? Every choice you make casts a vote for the person you will become. Skip the workout, that's a vote for the weaker version of you. Show up anyway, that's a vote for the stronger version. Avoid the conversation you know you need to have, vote for avoidance. Face it head on. Vote for courage. Over time, these votes add up, and one version of you becomes stronger while the other fades away. One of the hardest parts about this war is that it's not a fight you win once. It's a fight you have to keep winning. You don't defeat laziness forever. You don't kill self-doubt permanently. You don't erase fear from your life. They will always be there, waiting for you to slip. But the more battles you win, the easier it gets to win the next one. You start to build momentum. You start to trust yourself. You start to recognize the enemy's tactics before they can take hold. There will be days when you lose. You'll wake up late, skip the work, give in to temptation, avoid the hard choices. On those days, the war inside will tell you it's over, that you failed, that you might as well give up. That's when you have to fight the hardest. You have to understand that losing a battle doesn't mean losing the war. What matters is getting back up and fighting again immediately. The longer you stay down, the more power you give to the wrong side. The war inside is won through discipline, and discipline is forged in discomfort. You have to do things you don't feel like doing. You have to push when it's easier to stop. You have to choose the action that serves your future self instead of the one that pleases your current feelings. Every time you do this, you weaken the enemy and strengthen the part of you that's built for greatness. It's also important to realize that this war is deeply personal. Nobody else can fight it for you. People can motivate you, inspire you, and guide you, but at the end of the day, you're the one in the ring. You're the one who decides whether to show up for yourself, and you're the one who has to live with the consequences of winning or losing. You can't negotiate with the enemy inside you. You can't give it a little ground and hope it leaves you alone. It doesn't work like that. If you give it an inch, it will take everything. That's why you have to be ruthless with yourself in this fight. You have to set non-negotiable standards and refuse to break them. You have to treat your goals as if your life depends on them, because in a way it does. The quality of your life, the depth of your fulfillment, the strength of your character, these are all determined by who wins the war inside. And here's the truth that most people don't want to hear. The war never ends. Even when you're winning, you'll have to keep fighting. Even when you've built discipline, there will be days you want to quit. Even when you've made progress, the temptation to slip back into comfort will never fully disappear. But that's not something to fear, it's something to respect. Because this war is the very thing that keeps you sharp, strong, and alive. Without it, you would grow soft, complacent, and purposeless. When you finally understand this, you stop seeing the war inside as a curse and start seeing it as a gift. You realize that the enemy in your mind is the reason you have the opportunity to become stronger. Without resistance, there is no growth. Without struggle, there is no pride in victory. Without the fight, there is no transformation. The war inside is where you either become the person you were meant to be or the person you settle for being. It's where you decide whether to live on autopilot or to take control of your destiny. Every morning when you wake up, you step onto the battlefield. Every choice you make is a strike for one side or the other. And the truth is, nobody else will even see the war you're fighting, but they will see the results. They will see the strength, the discipline, the confidence, and the life you've built. Or they will see the regret, the frustration, and the wasted potential. The outcome is in your hands and only yours. You either win the war inside or you lose everything that matters. Life will never hand you your purpose wrapped in a neat little box with a bow on top. It's not going to arrive in your email inbox, and no one is going to walk up to you and say, "Here's your destiny." You find it by moving, by trying, by throwing yourself into the fire of action. Most people sit still and wait for clarity, not realizing that clarity is born from chaos, from mistakes, from testing yourself in the real world. You don't find yourself by thinking about yourself, you find yourself by building yourself. Every single person you admire didn't know exactly where they were going when they started. They just started. The problem is that so many people want certainty before they take the first step. They want a guarantee that the path will work before they even begin. But life doesn't work like that. You take the step, you fall, you adjust, you take another step. Each move reveals something about who you are and what you're capable of. The more you act, the more the fog clears. Purpose is like a picture slowly coming into focus. Every action you take adds another detail until one day you finally see it clearly. When you stand still, you're not avoiding failure, you're guaranteeing it. Because the real failure isn't trying something and falling short, it's doing nothing and living a life of regret. Action is the antidote to confusion. Even if you go in the wrong direction, at least you know it's the wrong direction and you can pivot. People who never move never know. They stay in the same room their whole life, wondering what's outside, too scared to open the door. It's easy to convince yourself you're preparing, reading books, making plans, thinking about ideas. But preparation without action is just procrastination in disguise. You can't read your way to your purpose. You can't daydream your way into passion. You have to get out there, put your hands on the work, feel the weight of it, and see if it breaks you or builds you. That's how you know. You have to be willing to look foolish. You have to be willing to fail in public. Every action you take might not work, but each one teaches you something. And that's the secret. The purpose you're looking for isn't hiding somewhere far away. It's built from all the lessons you collect along the way. You don't stumble onto it in one big aha moment. You piece it together over time through effort, sweat, heartbreak, and small victories. The truth is, action changes you in ways thinking never will. When you take action, you meet parts of yourself you didn't even know existed. You see your resilience when life punches you in the mouth. You discover your creativity when your back is against the wall. You realize your capacity for persistence when everyone else has already quit. These moments shape you, they form your identity, and your identity is the foundation of your purpose. Stop asking yourself, "What's my purpose?" and start asking, "What can I do today to move forward?" Purpose is not a pre-written script, it's a character you become by acting out your own story. That story is written in sweat, in late nights, in days where you want to quit but keep going anyway. The day you decide to act without knowing the whole path is the day you step into the arena where your purpose lives. Your life will not change because you figured everything out in your head. Your life will change because you took one bold step, and then another, and then another. And before you know it, those steps form a path, and that path becomes a mission, and that mission becomes a purpose worth living and dying for. So stop waiting, stop thinking, move, because the one thing you're looking for will only reveal itself when you have the courage to chase it down. And here's the truth you need to let sink in: your life will never change until you decide you're done living small. You can read every book, listen to every motivational speech, and plan every move down to the last detail. But if you don't step out and put your skin in the game, nothing happens. Dreams don't materialize because you want them. They materialize because you're willing to bleed for them. You can't tiptoe into greatness. You charge into it, knowing you'll get bruised, knowing you'll be tested, but understanding that every scar will be proof you showed up when it mattered. The people you admire, the ones who seem unshakable, didn't get there because they waited for the perfect timing. They acted before they felt ready. They were scared, they were unsure, and they moved anyway. They learned by doing. They discovered their strength in the middle of the storm, not while sitting on the shore wondering what the ocean might feel like. And that's exactly what you need to do: jump into the water. Let it swallow you for a moment. Fight your way to the surface, because once you do, you'll realize you've been able to swim all along. Every single day you wait is a day you'll never get back. You can waste months or years thinking about what could go wrong, when the truth is, everything changes the moment you make a move. You don't have to see the whole staircase, you just have to take the first step. That one action will lead to the next, and before you know it, you're standing in a place you couldn't have even imagined from the starting line. The war inside you between fear and ambition, between comfort and growth, will always be there. But action is what tips the scales. Every time you act, you feed your courage. Every time you hesitate, you feed your fear. Which one grows is entirely up to you. So stop waiting for someone to open the door for you. Stop waiting for permission, validation, or a guarantee. You were not put here to live as a background character in someone else's story. You were born to create, to lead, to break the limits you've been told to accept. That begins today, not next week, not when you feel ready. Today, when you walk away from this moment, you have two choices. Keep thinking, keep wishing, keep waiting, or move, act, and build the life you know you're meant to live. One road leads to regret. The other leads to purpose. Choose the one that demands everything from you. Choose the one that scares you. Choose the one that will leave you proud when you're old and looking back. And when you take that step, remember, action is not just the path to discovery. Action is the path to becoming who you were always meant to be. And thanks for watching.